You've heard it 1,000 times. Lamar Jackson isn't a real quarterback. He's just an athlete. He runs too much. He can't throw from the pocket. But every time Lamar steps on that field, he breaks records, destroys defenses, and makes those same critics look ridiculous. But here's the twist. What if I told you that technically they might be right? Lamar Jackson isn't a quarterback, at least not in the traditional sense. Because what Lamar represents goes beyond the old-school definition of the QB position. He's not just throwing spirals. He's rewriting the entire job description. So let's break this down. Today, we're diving deep into why Lamar Jackson isn't your typical quarterback, how he's changing the NFL forever, and why so many people still refuse to admit it. Make sure you hit that like button because we're about to settle one of the most heated debates in football history. Let's start with the oldest insult in the book. Lamar's just a running back who throws sometimes. That quote came from anonymous NFL scouts before the 2018 draft. Some executives actually suggested Lamar should switch positions, maybe play wide receiver or running back, despite the fact that he had just thrown for over 9,000 yards and 69 touchdowns at Louisville. Can you imagine telling a Heisman-winning college quarterback that he shouldn't even try to play QB in the NFL? And yet, that's what Lamar faced from day one. Now, fast forward to 2019, Lamar's first full season as a starter. He goes out and wins NFL MVP. He leads the league in passing touchdowns, sets a record for most rushing yards by a QB, and turns the Baltimore Ravens into one of the most unstoppable offensive machines in football. And what do the critics say? Oh, defenses will figure him out next year. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Because here's the thing, Lamar didn't just run. He redefined what running as a quarterback could mean. He wasn't scrambling out of fear. He was attacking. Every run was a calculated strike, like a boxer throwing combinations instead of just dodging punches. He turned chaos into a weapon. To understand Lamar, you have to understand the evolution of the position itself. In the early days, quarterbacks were game managers. Think Bart Starr, Johnny Unitas, pocket passers who stay behind the line, read defenses, and threw with surgical precision. Then came the dual-threat era. Randall Cunningham, Steve Young, Michael Vick, guys who could move and throw, but were often seen as exceptions to the rule. Lamar Jackson? He's not an exception. He's the blueprint for the modern era. In a league where defensive ends, run 4.4s, and linebackers are basically mini safeties, you need a quarterback who can move. The game has evolved. It's faster, more chaotic, and more creative. Lamar isn't a quarterback stuck in an old system. He's the prototype for the new one. And that's why some people hate it. Because every time he wins, it proves that their definition of quarterback is obsolete. Yes, the classic. Lamar only succeeds because of the Ravens' system. Let's talk about that. Yes, Baltimore built their offense around Lamar's strengths, but that's not a bad thing. That's called coaching. When the Chiefs design plays for Mahomes' arm angles and creativity, it's genius. When the Bills create motion packages for Josh Allen's running ability, it's innovation. But when Baltimore does it for Lamar, suddenly it's a gimmick. Funny how that works, right? In reality, the Ravens were one of the first teams to embrace positionless football. They used tight ends like receivers like blockers, and Lamar like a Swiss Army knife. And it worked. Teams couldn't prepare for it. They'd watch film and still have no idea how to stop him. Remember that Monday Night Football game versus the Rams in 2019? Lamar threw 5 touchdown passes and made the Rams' defense look like they were playing in slow motion. Aaron Donald, the most dominant defensive player of our generation, couldn't touch him. That wasn't a system. That was Lamar mastering football at every level. Let's address the elephant in the room. There's a double standard when it comes to mobile quarterbacks, especially black quarterbacks. When white QBs like Josh Allen or even Joe Burrow use their legs, the narrative is they're gritty. They extend plays. They're football geniuses. When Lamar does it, he's running too much. He's not a real QB. It's a coded way of saying he doesn't fit the mold we're used to. And the truth is, Lamar doesn't. He's not trying to be Brady or Manning. He's building his own mold. He's a player who can beat you with his mind, his arm, and his legs, all in one sequence. And for traditionalists, that's terrifying. But for fans like us, that's electric. Because every Lamar game feels like you're watching the sport evolve in real time. Let's not forget when Lamar had to fight for his bag. Remember the 2023 offseason? The Ravens hesitated to give him a long-term deal, despite everything he'd done. The rumors flew. He's injury-prone. He's inconsistent. He can't win big games. But think about it. If a two-time Pro Bowler, unanimous MVP, and franchise icon has to beg for respect, what does that say about how the league still views him? Meanwhile, guys with far less on their resume were getting fully guaranteed deals left and right. Lamar eventually secured his contract, but the message was clear. He had earned twice as much respect for doing twice as much work. And when that 2023 season started, he played like a man on a mission. So, when people say Lamar Jackson isn't a quarterback, maybe they're right, but not for the reasons they think. Because Lamar Jackson isn't a quarterback. He's the evolution of the position itself. He's what happens when raw athleticism meets football IQ. When street ball creativity meets playbook precision. He's the kind of player kids will imitate in backyards for decades. The same way a generation grew up trying to be Michael Vick or Mahomes. And that's legacy. He's not redefining how to play quarterback. He's redefining what a quarterback even is. So here's the question. If Lamar Jackson isn't a quarterback, then what is he? A football player who transcends position? A symbol of the game's future? Or maybe he's just Lamar Jackson, and that's more than enough. What do you think, though? Is the criticism fair? Or are people just uncomfortable with the fact that the game has evolved beyond their comfort zone? Let me know down below, because this debate isn't going away anytime soon. And one last thing. Next time someone says, Lamar Jackson isn't a quarterback, you tell them, you're right. He's something better.